you gotta figure out at that point what you wanna do next. It's hard. Like losing a job sucks. And then calling your parents or your family or your spouse. Find something you're passionate about. Maybe you have bigger aspirations. So make sure it's a big dream, but make sure it's reasonable. Most people treat job loss or a career switch like a surprise divorce. They panic, they scramble. You should treat it like a planned move instead. So what do I mean by that, right? I think that you can be surprised when you lose your job, but most people that get fired, whether it's via transition of a company, whether you made a mistake and were negligent in some way, or whether it was just the company moving pieces on the table around, or maybe you just choose to leave. Like all four of those scenarios might exist in a certain capacity. Well, for me, I've always seen the writing on the wall, and I've been fired from a lot of jobs, more jobs than I'd like to admit. And so I would always run the numbers first. I would calculate how much runway I might need in between jobs, and I would make sure I saved that much money knowing that a job loss might come. Now, you might say you have to have a little bit of like paranoia or schizophrenia because you're like, maybe I might lose my job today. And I think people say that jokingly, but it's pretty obvious if you are paying attention to things around you. So I think the first part of this is showing up to your job and making sure that, could there be changes and what do those changes look like? And am I valuable enough to withstand the change? And I found that a lot of times I wasn't. And so what I would do, and what I would recommend anybody do, is to make sure that you have time, right? That day's gonna come, you're gonna leave, you're gonna get fired, whatever it is. You get pulled into HR's office, they say, hey, don't go back to your desk, we'll mail it to you. Here's your severance check, whatever. You gotta figure out at that point what you wanna do next. And what I would say is if you don't have a savings fund, if you don't have any money sitting around where you can kind of spend that while you figure out the next thing, you're gonna be desperate. And you know when you're desperate, you normally find another job that you also hate and you wanna quit. Now, sometimes it's inevitable. Sometimes it happens and you just end up stuck and you gotta fight your way through it. And then you end up in a weird spot where you're working at your next job, trying to find a new job that pays better, does more. You're trying to get a skill so you can upgrade yourself to get a better salary and a newer job, whatever it is. But ultimately, time is going to be your greatest resource. If you can take your time, you can find the right people, you can find the right job, find the right setting for you, that's valuable. Because I've found a job within a day, and I've found a job within 3 months. And so I've always found that when I take my time within 3 months, I end up landing at places that are just better. Better for me, better for my family, better for my workload, all that stuff. So you have to make sure that you take the time to have a savings that you're gonna live on while you're going through this transition period. And by the way, there's an emotional aspect to this. It's hard. Like losing a job sucks. And then calling your parents or your family or your spouse or telling your brother or sister that you lost your job is a little bit embarrassing. In some ways, you don't even say that. And a lot of times we just blame it on the company and not ourselves. I think that's a mistake in the fact that just own it. It's okay. And you should do it in one day, by the way. You should just tell everybody in one day. Don't let it trickle. Don't like wait 10 days and call different people on each day. Literally sit down and whoever you gotta tell, whoever matters the most to you in life that you're trying to keep in your circle, call them all. Make it one bad day and cry and mourn about it and then move on the next. Do a future you audit as well. Write down what you want your next role, Write down what you want your next role to look like. Salary, hours, location, impact, right? The third step in this is skill arbitrage. Identify 2 to 3 high leverage skills that you want to invest into. It might be a certification in Amazon Web Services coding. You might be like, hey, I'm gonna transition, I'm gonna upgrade, I'm gonna do this. I think it matters because it should be something you're passionate about, because most times when we find a job that we're not passionate about, maybe you're a server, maybe you're a waiter, maybe you drove a truck, maybe you were a plumber. I worked as a plumbing supply guy, and so I would help people pick out plumbing supply parts from the warehouse. I don't know anything about plumbing. I hated that job. I needed to do something else. Find something you're passionate about. Maybe you have bigger aspirations. Maybe you want to be a lawyer or a doctor or an astronaut or a Navy SEAL. Well, those things are going to take more time. And so when you think about how much money you need to save more so that you have the time to be able to go and chase that thing. And I think you should do it to your fullest. And I don't think you should dream small, by the way. I think if you looked at me and said, hey, I just lost my job at McDonald's and I want to go be a doctor, but I have $7 saved, I'd be like, that's pretty lofty. You might struggle. You're gonna have to pay money to go to school, and you're gonna have to figure out the path to get there. And you were at McDonald's before, you had low ambitions. But maybe you're in a different case. Maybe you have worked as an accountant and you're like, I need a career switch. I want to go back to school and become a lawyer, and I have $100,000 saved and I have time, effort, energy that I can put towards this. That makes sense, right? I could see somebody making that transition. So make sure it's a big dream, but make sure it's reasonable, because it has to be reasonable or you won't actually achieve it. You'll just tell everybody that you're going to be a doctor when really you're not capable of doing that job, and you're just telling people that to make yourself feel better. I think the other emotional thing about this is that you have to make sure that you're building your network, right? People are gonna see you. Your old boss might talk to you in some ways. People are gonna come back. So you don't wanna burn any bridges, and you wanna keep expanding your network. I love the breakfasts in Charlotte, we live here, there's Pitch Perfect. Once a month, they essentially run a pitch breakfast perfect thing where you get to see 7 or 8 entrepreneurs pitch an idea, normally for investment, but whatever. But a bunch of folks show up, owners, people that do a lot of different business in Charlotte, maybe it's angel investors, whatever. But if you go to those and shake people's hands and say hello, maybe meet one of the startups, you might get a job with one of those guys because you have a skill they have. And you didn't know that unless you showed up, shook hands, started talking to people, and shown your value to them. And I think that matters. I think you should be networking, and you shouldn't burn any bridges. Like the day you get fired, you should not go and flip over your desk or give the middle finger to the man or whatever. Chances are you're gonna run into those folks again somewhere down the line. It might not be next year, but it might be 10 years, maybe 15 years. And they'll be like, oh, that was the guy that did this one really crazy thing. I have run into almost every single person that I've worked with before in the past. And that's just part of life, and you need to make sure that you're maintaining positive relationships with that. And that requires discipline and emotional security on who you are and what you want to do. But the one thing I would leave us on is that your mental health is the most important piece. You need to be happy. You need to enjoy what you do. Don't put yourself in a situation where you have to take the first thing available to you. A job transition is not a failure. It's the universe forcing an upgrade.